What up, dudes? It's Gaz, and welcome back to the Warframe video. So I almost forgot to get this one out. We have the August version of devstream bingo today, where we do some, kind of jokey, kind of serious, but very cynical predictions for the devstream coming out tomorrow, which I will be live streaming on my live stream channel, so come out and check that out if you haven't checked it out already. And yeah, we're just going to basically go over predictions I have, and kind of like a chill, hangout video while we wait for the dev stream tomorrow. So as far as things we know that they're going to be talking about, we know they'll be talking about Veilbreaker, the new update, which I'm guessing we'll get a release date for tomorrow. There's been basically lots of information about AoE weapons getting nerfed because they kill stuff too quick or whatever the situation is. And we also know that Wukong and Wukong Prime are getting toned down in some way. So that will be a lot of the predictions today, where it'd be things of that nature, and other aspects of this update that might come to fruition. We'll see. But before we get into it, make sure you're subbed to the YouTube channel, all that. Make sure you check the live channel as well, as we stream tomorrow. There will be an update video on the, dev stream and all that too. So, yeah, don't worry about it. If you can't watch it live, I will be uploading a video too. All right, so let's get some game plan screen. We're going to go over my bingo card, 5x5 on bingobaker.com. They have the technology to make bingo cards. All right, so we have my bingo card right here. We're going to go over all of these, and I'm going to explain why I chose these, just because, some of them seem pretty obvious at this point. So we're going to go to the top left and start working our way down. Number 1, cross-save. We never said that. So I feel like this one's actually a lot more important and, relevant than people think. Whenever I am talking about cross-play in this game, and some people as well do this, it's like you put cross-play and cross-save together like it's nothing. But really, cross-save is going to be a lot more work than cross-play. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm not even sure if DE has even agreed to doing cross-save at any point. We know that they said last year at TennoCon cross-play would be during 2022 at some point. And by the way, we're like 3/4 through 2022, so they haven't lied yet, but getting a little bit sketchy in here. So yeah, I think a lot of people are just immediately assuming there will be cross-save as well. Myself included, I put cross-play and cross-save together in sentences all the time. I shouldn't be doing that. So yeah, they might actually nip that in the butt right here. It's okay, well, guys, cross-save is not happening anytime soon, if or at all. So yeah, DE needs to really, we need full cross-play information. I really feel like we are still lacking on that, and we're over a year past when the dev stream was last year. Still technically 2022, so they're not lying, but yeah, that's number 1. But I highly doubt we'll get too much information on it. We'll probably get some small announcement though. Next one, infested liches. I think lich updates usually do pretty good for this game, as far as things to do for a month or two, some new weapons, some new mods and all that. So if they added infested liches, maybe give me an infested version of the turret or something, I'm down for that. And that would be better than, just random, side content that has nothing to do with actual Warframe, like Deviri probably will be a, pretty much Death Loop kind of game. It's going to be like that. So, yeah, Infested Lich would be nice. All right, next frame is going to be called Styanax. We already know that there's it's like a Spartan frame, basically, and I'm just wondering if he's going to have an Exalted Spear. I'm sure, you could say, oh, they already said there's an Exalted Spear. Well, I want to actually see it, okay? I want to see what his abilities are, and we actually have another tile on here about Styanax abilities as well, but an Exalted Spear would be cool. And the funny thing is we don't actually have a spear weapon in-game. We have pole arms, and the Plague Crypath kind of looks like a spear, but it's not actually a spear. It's not a spear weapon type. It's a pole arm, technically. So, yeah. Speaking of the Plague Crypath, how about Plague Star announcement? I know we probably won't get it, but, I think it's been been 8 months at least since the last Plague Star. They usually don't do them until, I'd say 12 or 14 months, so maybe we'll hear about it. I wouldn't mind that at all. Just get some more forma. Yeah, the last Plague Star was when Nidus came out, so whatever that was. I think that was 9 months or a year ago. Whatever. Next one. All right, here's the first AoE nerf tile. AoE weapons put in the dirt. So, as someone that's been covering this game for a while, usually the way nerfs go in this game is, number 1, there's three different options usually. One of them is it's nerfed in the ground, unusable state. Completely unusable. Look at Maiming Strike. Maiming Strike is a terrible, terrible mod now, and it used to be meta back in the day. So that's one they could do it. Other way they could do it is they don't change it enough, and it just stays the meta. Kind of like what they did with the Kuva Nukor and the Brahma. When those first came out, those things were even more ridiculous than they currently are, and they nerfed them, and it didn't change anything because they were still like by far the best weapons in the game. Nowadays, like people aren't using the Kuva Nucor as much. Now the Epitaph has the built-in cold procs, but you see what I'm saying here is they might just not change it enough. And then the third one is like they change it and it's like it kind of was effective, but at the same time it really wasn't. Like the melee nerf when they added the galvanized mods. Like we didn't need a melee nerf then, especially when it came along with a gun buff, but they nerfed melee to make guns look better too. This was unnecessary. So yeah, that's what they could do, and maybe they'll just completely put them in the dirt. We'll see. Next tile here, we got Archon Crystal upgrades are OP. If you don't know what an Archon Crystal is, you're probably super in the dark here. But basically, Archon Crystals are going to be a new type of, I'm guessing, endgame loot that comes from these new endgame Archon sortie tiers. So I'm using the word endgame because that's what DE referred to it as, is endgame. They're calling this endgame, the new sortie tiers. So I'm expecting it to be not only challenging, but have good loot and be exciting and interesting and, something that you can't solo easily. I'm sure you'll be able to solo it because everything in this game, they make it this be soloable. But, I want it to be really, really hard. Like, balance for 4 players. So when one player goes and they're trying to solo it, they're having a hard time, at least until they completely master the gameplay aspects of it. So, yeah. If they're OP, cool. I mean, I'm expecting it to be like some kind of new talent tree thing. If it just, you dissolve it for 1 million credits, that would be really disappointing. But moving on. Joke about the Styanax name. I personally think the frame's name, Styanax, is a really, really stupid name. And I know I'm not the only one that feels that way. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised that even DE is joking about the name Styanax, because I mean, anyone that hears it is just like, oh, that's what they called it, huh? Okay. Moving on, second half of Augment Reworks. Now you might not remember this one, but earlier in the year, we got, was it Echoes of War or Echoes of Zeramon? One of those Echoes updates had a Augment rework, and they did a bunch of augments that were completely unused. They changed them to like some degree. Didn't really do much to make those augments relevant, but for example, Smoke Shadow for Ash got like increased crit chance added to it. Sure. That was not there before. And then Pablo said there was actually plans to do the other, like basically M through Z as far as the augments are concerned for the rest of the year. So that'd be like Limbo, Zephyr, like other frames like Zaku, if Zaku's augments weren't good or something like that. So yeah, I'm expecting those later in the year at some point. We don't know when that's coming out. But yeah, that was announced. So maybe they'll talk about it. AoE abilities also nerfed. Now this is one that's speculation by me, but think about it. If they're nerfing AoE weapons and they're not nerfing AoE abilities, I can still kill stuff really, really fast with my AoE abilities. Like Thermal Thunder from Gauss, Equinox's 4th ability, Saren's 4th ability, like Volt's, like all these frames that do AoE. So I'm wondering if they're going to only nerf the weapons, which is what seems like most people care about. But if they don't nerf the weapons, I think you're going to hear all those same guys are complaining about weapons being annoying. They're going to be complaining about Thermal Thunder being annoying because you can kill faster with Thermal Thunder in like a low-level fissure anyway, and which is probably the missions those guys that complain about AoE are playing. So yeah, I could see that getting nerfed too. We'll see. They didn't really say anything about abilities getting nerfed. We're just going off speculation until tomorrow. All right, next one. New Wisp skin. This is not actually cynical. They make Wisp skin. There was that one, was it February? There was like 4 new Wisp skins in a month. They're going to make a new Wisp skin. I would say that you could put that in free, honestly. But if they show it on screen, that means that you can fill this tile in. Moving on, we got Excalibur and Mag rework info. I believe as Pablo said, they're going to be doing some reworks and like quality of life changes for new player frames, like the new frames you choose as a new player. Excalibur and Mag. I don't know if he said they're going to be changing Volt or not, but I know for a fact it's Mag and Excalibur, so we'll see about that. Moving on, line of sight on everything. Now this is just basically the same thing as AoE weapons put in the dirt. Maybe they'll add line of sight checks on everything in the game. So that would be abilities getting nerfed, that would be weapons getting nerfed, that would be even things like the Kuva Nucor getting nerfed. Like I don't really call the Kuva Nucor AoE, but did you know the Kuva Nucor chains the enemies through walls? If they go real hard on the AoE nerfing, they could even go that far and ruin things like the Vermis Splice or the Kuva Nucor even further. So just another little doom and gloom segment for you there, and we can move on. AoE nerf with no single target buffs / changes. So we do pretty much know they're going to be changing the AoE in a negative way if you like AoE. And a lot of people are like, well, you need to make single target weapons more important. They're probably not going to do that because single target weapons aren't a problem. And according to DE, AoE weapons are a problem. So why would they change something that isn't a problem to them? There's no it's more work, and at the same time, the game's not really designed around single target weapons, so them buffing it's not really going to do much, in my opinion. They need to make actual missions where single target matters, that the everyday player is going for. Because yeah, sure, endurance run, sure, single target is important there, kind of, but at the same time, that's player created missions. Like there's no reason to go high level in this game. There's no actual loot you get from going high level. The players decide to do that. So yeah. Moving on. Styanax Spartan Kick ability. Now, me personally, this is what I want to see. I would love to see the Styanax new Spartan frame. I would love to see him have an Exalted Spear and a Spartan Kick ability. Like, have you ever seen 300? Kick the enemy into a wall and make them explode because you kicked them so hard. That could be awesome to me, as someone that likes like just watching enemies' bodies explode. Like, you kick them into a wall and they just explode in disgustingness. I would love that, but I'm not holding my breath on it. So, yeah, we'll see. Moving on, crossplay server test. Now, we know this is coming at some point this year. There's going to be a crossplay server stress test. That's actually why Borrow is like the same stock for like a month and a half, is because they're trying to get everything caught up to date for crossplay. So we'll probably get an announcement on the server stress test date, which we know is coming. We just don't know when it's coming. So maybe they'll announce that on the dev stream. This is the first dev stream after TennoCon. Endgame is set allowed. In an interview with Rebecca, the new creative director, about Veilbreaker, she said that the new sortie tier is endgame to them. So if they say the word endgame allowed, that means that we are allowed to critique it as endgame, even though, like, because the thing is, I don't know if that, like, as someone that's been interviewed before by like magazines and stuff, the interviewer sometimes will just twist your words and make it so it's things you didn't actually say. So I'm going to give Rebecca the benefit of the doubt here, just in case, as someone that has been interviewed before and taken out of context. Maybe she didn't actually say it's endgame, but the person who was interviewing her took it and twisted it to be endgame. I don't know. That's just something I'm saying. I've had quotes from me twisted before that weren't proper, so it was just kind of crazy hearing the creative director say endgame. In this game, we've been asking for endgame for so many years. So, yeah, they say it aloud. That means that it's open season. So it better be good either way. But yeah, let's see them say endgame aloud. Moving on, so the first Wukong nerf kind of tile here. Wukong clone can only use melee weapons. That's not confirmed. That's what I think they might do, because you think about it, the reason the Wukong clone is so crazy to a lot of people is because you can give it a Kuvazar, you can give it a Kuva Brahma, blah, blah, blah. It will AoE kill stuff for you, and you can just basically sit there and make a sandwich, or play another game in the background. And they said that the AFKing of Wukong is a problem, and the AI for melee in this game is really bad, so if you make the AI for the Wukong clone only do melee, maybe that will solve some of DE's issues. That would probably ruin the clone for a lot of people, but it still wouldn't make Wukong unplayable, because he'd still be the best spy frame in the game. Unless they did something with the cloud, too. Then you're in trouble, Wukong players. Alright, moving on. We've got the Archon Crystal upgrades are underwhelming. So like I said, the Archon Crystal is going to be a new type of loot that come from these endgame sorties, and we don't know exactly what they're going to do, but I'm hoping it's something like a talent tree. If you watch my video from a long time ago, I actually suggested this exact system. Basically, it'd be like a Incarnon mode for your Warframe. You'd put in the Archon Crystal, and you could choose the left option or the right option. The left option has like increased headshot multiplier for snipers. The right option has increased ability damage against unarmored targets or something. Like, things that are powerful, different options you can choose between to customize your playstyle, and maybe even customize your prime frame. So let's say I want to make a Sniper Ash Prime. I would choose the left option. I want increased headshot multiplier. But I want to also be able to play the the ninja ability damage Ash Prime. So I'd make two different Ash Primes, one for the left option, one for the right option. That could make having multiple copies of a prime frame actually viable to players that really, really like those frames. You like to main a frame, have multiple copies of them, an actual good reason for it besides just mod polarities. And yeah, that sounds good, but it could be underwhelming. Like I said, it could just be a million credits. I really hope it's not that. But we'll see. Another thing with Archon Crystals and Archon Fights seem underwhelming. The final column down here, or final row down here. Yeah, I hope they're not underwhelming, as we've been waiting for them for a while, and that interview had Rebecca calling them endgame, so yeah. If they were overly easy, even though I've got, just keep an eye on this channel, I'll have cheese strats for that stuff on the first day, guys. I've already made guides that are foolproof for anything that DE throws at us combat-wise as far as these Archon fights. So keep an eye on the channel. So I'm not worried about that, but I'm just like, I hope they're actually cool and exciting before we start cheesing them with the strategies I put in my videos. So, yeah. Next one, AFK and Wukong in the same sentence. I just thought that was funny because, AFK is just such a, internet, gamer term. And if they say, Wukong lets you AFK, that just sounds like someone, talking on, a Discord server or, a forum post. Wukong lets you AFK too much. It would just be funny hearing the official devs say stuff like that on their stream. Because, I mean, they basically already have before where it's like, I just want to hear them say Wukong is too AFKable. I just want to hear that for myself. And if they do say that during the stream, hey, I can fill in that square. And we'll be almost close to bingo. Next one, we got the three last ones here. Dev mode, infinite health, and energy gameplay. If you ever watch their dev streams, they usually have infinite health and infinite energy activated. So in case... sorry about that. In case their health goes on to 0, they will just go back to full health again mid-mission. So if that happens again, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. That's basically all their gameplay. So yeah, count on that one. Next one, Protea Deluxe for the 5th time. How many times have they shown us that Protea Deluxe? It seriously feels like this is about to be the 5th time. And I'm guessing it will finally come out in Veilbreaker with the Tonkor skin. But yeah, man, it's like they've shown it at TennoCon. They've shown it at the dev stream before TennoCon. They showed it on the WARFRAME stream. I feel like they showed it to us before, too, in other trailers. So can you just at least put in the game so we can start like showing the Zaku skin instead? Because that Zaku skin looks cool. Either way, last one here, new Narmer weapons. Now, if you remember when the Narmer got added, they're basically just a reskin of the Corpus and the Grenier, and they got like little hats on, a re-hat, if you would, and they have no actual specific weapons tied to them. There's like Archon weapons that came after the new war that are tied to the Archons, like that come from Narmer bounties. I wouldn't really technically call those Narmer weapons, but you know, maybe you could call those Narmer weapons. I'm looking for like a Narmer gun, like a sentient Gurkhada. Like you get 5 kills with it, and then you push the alt-fire button, and the Gurkhada, it becomes a turret that follows you around, kind of like a Zaku gun. That kind of like fun stuff, I'm hoping for those types of things. Make the Narmer actually a fleshed-out faction. Because if you didn't know this, the Narmer actually have their own codex page, and it makes it seem like they're an actual different faction, but then you inspect what the Narmer actually are, and they have the exact same like health and armor as their cloned counterparts. So this is what I'm talking about right here. So let's just see. I'm going to type in Elite Lancer. There's a lot of Elite Lancers. So a normal Elite Lancer right here, he drops Undying Will. He has 200 armor, 150 health. And I go to the Narmer version. If we have a Narmer version. Okay, I guess there's no Narmer version. If there was, I didn't see him there. How about Lancer? Normal Lancer. There we go. Normal Lancer. So he drops Streamline, 100, 100 on his health and armor. Now we'll get a Narmer version. 100, 100, Streamline. It's the exact same enemy, guys. There's no difference besides the little description right here. And I guess technically Bane mods don't work on faction or on Narmer because there's no Bane of the Narmer yet. So yeah, make these guys actually fleshed out. Give them a reason to exist, and maybe we'll respect them a little bit more. Because as far as it stands right now, I just find them as like a placeholder, like waste of time. So that's it for the bingo card. I hope that you guys found this fun and helpful. I'll see you tomorrow for the live stream and the videos. And yeah, take it easy, guys. Peace.